Coach, whenever he's ready.
Chris, I know you said with the week between games, you really wanted to kind of focus on yourselves this weekend. I know you guys took the holiday off, but this weekend, what did you guys kind of work on most, to get better for the rest of the season?
Yeah, before I answer that question, I just want to start off by congratulating Coach Jordan, his staff, the players on the accomplishment of making the NCAA tournament. I mean, pretty motivating to watch their team have the injuries that they have and for them to overcome all the setbacks that they had and just grind it out. You know, they went into the postseason kind of limping and they figured out a way to win in the biggest games of the season and was really excited for him. I followed it all weekend and certainly we're trying to get better as well, but it was pretty cool to watch that and I'm excited for their team. I mean, he's been winning, since he's arrived and his program is the benchmark around here. In terms of us getting better this weekend, it's hard to get young people motivated in mid to late November to practice like it's September and October. They went through that grind already, and now come the games, and you kind of scale it back a little bit and get more into scout mode and to try to revert to going a little bit longer and, more of the mundane drills, if you will. It's hard, and we tried to talk about that prior to get them to buy into understanding that's going to help us, this week and in the following week if we can have some really good practices and have the right mindset. So we fought them a little bit this weekend, but in the end, I think we got better. I think we had some productive practices. Obviously, we'll find out, heading into this stretch of games.
Looking at UTEP, obviously you guys played them a couple weeks ago. I had a chance to watch their game against UNM on Saturday night, and it always just kind of seems like they hang around for about 3/4 of the game, and I think, they don't have obviously much depth, but it seems like they're a very, very capable team. Obviously, you guys found that out here a couple weeks ago, and it seems like they've gotten better since they played you. Have you kind of seen that the past couple weeks from them?
No question. They've gotten a lot better. Coach Terry and his staff have done a great job. They've hit the ground running. It's been well documented. They've got a lot of young players, and they don't have a lot of depth this year, but they're doing a great job of getting the most out of their players and getting better as the season progresses, and that's always the goal. And they're doing it. I've watched all their games, and you can see their growth. And like you said, they're in every game, and they're going to beat a lot of teams this year. Against UNM this weekend, I mean, they were there. They were there all the way down to the stretch, and then they just couldn't make enough plays down the stretch to get the win. So, and as you mentioned, they smacked us in the face in our home court not too long ago, and certainly would give them confidence, playing us at their home court. So they've got our full attention and our players' full attention, and we'll be preparing hard the next couple of days to get ready to, go over and play a tough opponent.
In the first matchup, like you guys obviously played a lot of players. You still kind of seems like going with a 10, 11-man rotation right now. Do you feel like that is an area you guys can take advantage of trying to wear a team like UTEP down just because they don't have that depth?
You would think on paper, that would be our advantage, playing a lot of guys and trying to attack them in droves of players and keep our guys fresh and, keep them shuttling in and out of the game and try to, make fatigue a factor. But certainly they're at home, so it's a little bit different when you're playing in the friendly confines. So every game unfolds, in its own story. And certainly going into the game, we would hope that could be a strategy that we use, and I can't imagine us, all of a sudden not playing, as many guys as we have been playing. But, with AJ being out our last game and then, Johnny getting spot minutes, things are bound to change going forward. We can't play, 12 and 13 guys, equal minutes. I've never been around it. I'm not saying you can't. I've just never been around it, and it would be very unique to do that. But we'll see what happens going forward.
Coach, getting Johnny back, what do you anticipate from him going forward, at least this week, to Wednesday and also Saturday?
It was perfect for him and his comeback in terms of having a couple full contact practices and then playing a Division II opponent. And, I went to him, once he was cleared, and like I said in the post game, and asked him if he was ready mentally to play in a real game or if he wanted to, have this whole week of practices to feel more confident. But he said he felt great, and I said, well, let's, get some 10 to 15 minutes and kind of knock the rust off. And so it was perfect that way to get some game experience and then to have full-fledged practices or 4 of them where he had to play another game. And I mean, obviously we all saw it. He wasn't quite the same. To me, he looks a little bit heavy. His timing wasn't as good. He wasn't as quick. He's not jumping quite as high. But I think obviously that's going to come. He just needs some time under his belt to get his legs back, if you will. And hopefully this past weekend and then these 2 practices leading up to this game will get him more into a comfort zone. But it sure is nice to have him out there. It's nice to have him in practice. We just look more athletic and more dynamic when he's out on the floor.
How does that impact what you do, and how does that change what you do when you have Johnny available in the front court?
It's a good question. And I'm not sure we have the answer to it yet. It provides competition, in late November, and playing 5 guys at the 4 and 5 is hard to do. It's hard to spread that many minutes out amongst 5 players. And then if you throw Clayton in there at the 4, or Barrick in there at the 4, who have played some 4 in small ball situations, it's crowded, and so becomes the issue we have with our guards. Who are we going to play? And, right now our mindset is we're going to ride the guys that are playing well in that current game. Certainly practices are evaluated, and guys will get starting nods and minutes based on that. But once the games roll around, if the scores go in the right direction, they're probably going to stay in the game or get more of a run, the next time we sub. But it's going to play out right in front of all of us. I don't have a crystal ball and predict the future, who's going to play well or who's actually even going to play. It will be determined by their productivity in the practices and the games.
Did you guys get AJ back to full practice this weekend?
We did, yep. Like I said, post-game, he probably could have played, but thought it was probably best to just get him right going forward into this stretch of games that are coming up. So, yeah, he was full go all weekend.
And Keon, same thing. I know you
Yep, he was fine.